Want to know what's going on in the Denver metro real estate market in June of 2022? Got the latest stats here, and I'm going to go into these details, explain to you a little bit about what's been going on in the last 10 years and how this year is different. So let's get into it. My name is Garvin Laverick, broker here in Denver, Colorado with Coldwell Banker. And here we go. Active inventory. Active inventory is up significantly from the month of May, over 65% actually. So we're a little bit over 6,050 units that are currently available at the end of June. That being said, closed homes, that number actually went down from May, which was expected, to 5,090 units. So inherently, volume is going up as demand is going down. Average days on market has also increased. We were at 9 days on market in May, up to 10 days. And that again, we anticipated that to happen as well. Now, historically, let's get into a little bit about what we typically see. So the buying season going back to really 2013 typically started in April and then went through the entire summer months. That progressively has been getting earlier and earlier in the year to where usually the last few years, Super Bowl Sunday is really when it started. With the anticipation that interest rates were going to go up, we did not see a real slowdown, really going all the way through the tail end of last year. There was a little slowdown pretty much between right around Christmas and New Year's, and the buyers were out in force January 3rd. Multiple offers, we had 30, 40, 50, 100 showings on some of the properties, which it was hyper competitive. So the buyers were out in force early, realistically 45 to 60 days ahead of where they usually are. So what has happened since then? Inventory goes up. Every single year we see inventory go up, and it typically peaks in the month of July and August. The reason why that shift happens is because our buyer pool shrinks. So people that are trying to go and buy are typically renters, and most leases expire in May, June, July, and August. So as these buyers are coming up to their notification date, having to go and give 60 or 30-day notice, and they haven't found a home, they're not under contract, those buyers are going out of the buyer pool. So your buyer pool, the later you get into the season, decreases. Now, the one thing that's different this year from previous years is the fact that interest rates skyrocketed. We were in the low threes earlier in the year, as late as March, and we were close to 6%, I think 5.81% within just over 30 days. So what that did, at least for my team and me, we lost about 25 to 30% of all of our buyers. Not that they didn't want to buy, but quite frankly, they got pushed out of the market because of affordability. So between the affordability factor pushing a lot of buyers out and us getting into that lease renewal rate where we typically lose buyers, we just had a large amount of buyers that were no longer there to go and bid and look at the inventory. And where we can go and tell that is that beginning of the year, about 70% of properties had multiple offers, and that number has decreased significantly to now about 20% in June, and we anticipate that number to go down even further as we go into July. Let me see a couple other notes we've got here. Now, changing market. Yes, changing market is scary. Do we have an oversupply? Absolutely not. 6,000 units this time of year is absolutely nothing when you look at it historically. We should be between 12 to 14,000 units on average. Our high was back in 2010, if I remember correctly, where we had a little bit over 36,000 homes on the market in July. So historically speaking, we are still at very low in inventory levels. And overall, I think it's actually very good that this has happened, that things are slowing down a little bit, because realistically, we couldn't have sustained this kind of exponential growth that we've seen going back to really 2015 or 16, seeing double-digit growth year over year for much longer, just from an affordability standpoint and all the other things. Now, opportunity. There are opportunities on both fronts, buyers and sellers. From a buyer perspective, you have less competition, less buyers, more inventory. You have some time to actually think about it. Beginning of the year, we were in on Thursday, and sometimes the house was under contract 6 hours after going on the market. Now you have the liberty of going in, taking a look at the property, seeing more homes, et cetera, to go and make sure that it's the right home for you. There are a bunch of different options to make sure that the rate is lower than what I quoted you at 5.5%. We can go into that when we speak one-to-one. From a seller perspective, actually a great opportunity to go and sell. Mainly because we've had it pretty good as sellers. It's been a seller's market for the better part of a decade. Most of us that have owned properties have a large amount of equity, and we don't know where it's going to go, but right now you're in a pretty good, strong position. So if you're thinking about selling, a couple of things I just want to go and point out: you got to make sure that your home is pristine, it's in good condition. If you're going to be putting out a not a great product that doesn't look great, doesn't look cared for, the buyer in today's market is going to be able to go and is very discerning, and it's going to be able to tell that you're going to have a hard time selling it, especially for top dollar. Moving forward, what do we anticipate? Well, 2022 is really going to be different than last year in the sense that it's going to be a story of two halves. The front part was ferocious buying activity. I think the second part is going to be a lot more level, better for all parties involved, buyers and sellers. But appreciation is still going to go and continue, and overall, it's going to be a good time to buy or to go and sell here in the Metro Denver area. We have a really resilient market moving forward. Again, Garvin Laverick here with Coldwell Banker. Feel free to reach out with any kind of questions, buying or selling, and I'm going to be posting more updates in the future about the housing market, buyer tips, seller tips, etc. So look forward to meeting with you. Take care.